Now, how much is the workforce engaged in agriculture in India?
Sir, as far as I remember, it was around 43 to 45%.
And how much is the agriculture contribution to GDP?
So it was approximately 16%.
Yes. And what is the percentage of workforce engaged in agriculture in Europe or USA?
So sorry, I'll have to read about it.
Some crude guess?
Sir, if in Europe I remember it is 1.5 to 2%.
Yeah. Yes, maximum 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
So this is not rocket science, and why 75 years after independence we are staring at 45% of our population sticking to agriculture? What went wrong?
So if I had to pinpoint a major factor is that we post being an agriculture economy, we started being driven by the service sector, which is not as labor intensive to accommodate all of agriculture's excess workforce.
By the name itself, service means personal service, and service sector should be labor intensive. I don't think that is a right allegation against service sector, that it's not labor intensive.
So, but there is also a mismatch in the skills that people have and the skills that a service sector employee would require.
That of course,
Yes,
that
sir.
possibility is there.
And also that we were not able to utilize our manufacturing strength that could have created a upward mobility in labor from agriculture, but the manufacturing contribution to our GDP has been stagnant around 15% of GDP.
Yes, that of course. You see the problem with service sector, what exactly is the problem of service sector?
So the current problems that the service sector would be facing is that one that I mentioned, the skill mismatch, and the second is digitization that is taking on a very fast pace. So it can lead to a further automation. For example, AI can replace the BPO industry that we had and that employed a lot of people in the service sector.
Yeah, plus service sector, you see, once the thirst or the appetite is quenched, you don't need more service. Whereas in case of manufacturing,
Yes.
you can continue to manufacture more and export it.
Makes
So
sense.
the economies of scale can be much more.
Yes.
That's where the
Yes.
gap is. Okay. Okay. This what happened in Ukraine.
Yes, sir.
So between Ukraine, Russia, America and NATO minus America, out of 100, how much you would blame each of them?
Okay, so interesting question. So, sir, I would blame Ukraine maybe 10 out of 100.
Okay.
I would blame Russia 55 out of 100. 55.
Okay.
And the remaining 35 for US and NATO.
Okay, that's interesting. Now tell me, have you watched wrestling matches?
No, sir.
You
I have not.
never watched wrestling?
So maybe my brother used to watch in childhood, so that WWE I've seen a little bit.
Because if somebody challenges you to come and do wrestling, you have to think of your strength first. Then only you should jump into the arena.
Yes,
So
sir.
Russia told Ukraine that don't jump into this arena, you will get beaten up. It said don't join NATO. But another country joined NATO and Russia said nothing to that country. Which is that?
So recently Finland and Sweden have joined.
Yeah. Finland has a much bigger border with Russia, but Russia said nothing to them. Ukraine, it had warned.
So the reason behind it can be that, as we've heard President Putin say time and again, that they consider Ukraine and Russia as one people. They have historical and civilizational links with Ukraine, and that is why, as we've seen their annexation of Crimea and the Donbas region that Russia wants to hold autonomy of, they have a special linkage with Ukraine. That's why it was a problem for Russia.
Okay. Okay.